we saw Rodolfo Vieira get exposed in his last fight, man. Everybody had been talking about it in all of the fights previous, saying, dude, this dude's body is built like a Greek god. Like, he's not supposed to cut this much weight and still be this effective. Prior to his last loss, Rodolfo Vieira was 7-0. You know what I'm saying? He was killing the game. But we need to point out a couple of things, AJ. So first and foremost, Dustin Stoltzfus, right? He came in really strong. He had a great performance in Dana White's Contender Series, ended up breaking a dude's or dislocating his elbow or whatever with a crazy slam, and that's how he got his shot. Now, that wasn't indicative because we didn't get to see all 3 rounds. So when he makes his UFC debut, what happens? Yeah, you got steamrolled by Kyle Dawkins, man. Not even Big Brother, not even Chris Dawkins. You got beat up by the little brother. However, both of those dudes are savages, so there's nothing to, hang your hat on that one. Now, AJ, I just need to mention this. Rodolfo Vieira, he fights Alexander Hernandez, right? Fluffy Hernandez. Both of these dudes, crazy BJJ guys, but Rodolfo Vieira, if you don't know who this guy is, he's a 7-time ADCC champion. He's like a 2-time Pan Am champion. This dude is like a 17-time grappling gold medalist across the board. Like, this is one of the most decorated BJJ practitioners of our current generation right now. And this is a dude who, made his transition into MMA. And what is one thing that we can point out very, very clearly and obviously, AJ? The dude is a killer when it hits the ground, but doesn't have much in terms of on the feet, right? Offensively or defensively, you know what I mean? Moves straight backwards in a straight line when he's getting blitzed out. He will end up circling out, so that is good. But we noticed that if it goes past the first round, there's a high likelihood that it's probably not going to go his way. And with that being said, Vieira has 5 first-round finishes. He's only gone the distance once. He actually won that fight, but he is 2-1 in fights that have gone past the first round. So I just need to ask you this, AJ. How concerned are you that Vieira shouldn't be fighting at this weight class, that he should be moving up? Because if you can only go 1 round by having to cut this much weight, that's a serious problem, right?
Oh yeah, huge problem. And I mean, it's just a general problem for everybody in the UFC that we're still doing, 30, 40 pound weight cuts. This dude's Rodolfo Vieira is absolutely huge, bro. He is massive, and it's for the 185 pound class. So he's still a big boy. Yeah. What I do think adds to it though is he has a granite chin. We saw it in the Hernandez fight, and actually they knew each other. They practiced together. Hernandez was very open about saying that he was kind of scared fighting this dude because he's so big. But he was able to Vieira was able to eat all those shots. He was getting pieced up real heavy, very little head movement at all. And he was just able to eat everything because of his granite chin. And Fluffy Hernandez just had to choke him out. Now, I do think it was more so that Vieira was tired and not necessarily because he actually got a good choke in on him. But that plays to exactly what you're asking. It's rough to see somebody cut that much weight to try to get an advantage and have that be a double-edged sword and actually have it hinder your performance because you can't breathe, you have zero energy, you have lack of muscle tissue because you're just depleting your water levels and everything like that. So I would like to see him fight at 205, man. Vieira's massive for the 185 pound class, and he would still be big for the 205. I don't know how much he walks around at, but I definitely think there's something needs to change as far as the whole weight cutting issue, because we all know it's legal cheating. Everybody's doing it, so you want to do it as well just to get that advantage. But we've started to see a couple fighters do a little bit better as they get up in weight classes. So I'd like to see him jump to the 205. What about you, Derek?
I absolutely agree. I just think that you're killing your body. You're not going to have longevity in the sport with these massive weight cuts, because he's already right now, I believe that Vieira is 31 years old, right? So like the clock is ticking, man. You don't have too many more years where your body will allow you to make those weight cuts without you starting to miss on the scale. And then you're just starting to jeopardize your own career. Now, he's very young in his MMA career, right? Only 8 fights in. But this dude is, like I said, if it gets to the ground, man, it's just you dealing with a different type of beast right here. You know what I mean? It's like Mackenzie Dern. Now she's getting her boxing together, but if you roll with her on the ground, unless your name is Vina Jandiroba, you're getting submitted, basically. You know what I mean? I think Jandiroba is like literally the only person Dern hasn't been able to submit or, finish or something like that. But this is the question that I have, AJ. Since that cardio issue was exposed, do you think that everybody now says, oh, okay, that's how you do it? You know what I mean? I have to just, if my life depends on it, I just have to avoid getting in clinching range with this man for a round, do a little bit of wrestling sprawl, something like that, get him tired, force it to go 2 and 3, and then I pounce, right? You would think that's probably what the main game plan is. However, this fight is taking place where? I believe this is at the Apex. This is in Las Vegas, so that's a tiny cage, which means it's going to be a lot easier for Vieira to be able to get your hands on Dustin Stoltzfus. Now, we've been talking all this time about Rodolfo Vieira. Let's give a little bit of shine to Dustin Stoltzfus. What stands out to you personally about this individual? In his UFC debut, yeah, I'm not going to lie, man. That's not what I saw in the Contender series. And clearly it's a big gap in competition level, right? You know what I mean? But he's basically known for being a karate guy, a wrestling guy, and he's also a luta libre background, right? So like he's that's his whole entire shtick. But I didn't see much in terms of the stand up. Everything he threw was big winging shots. His wrestling defense wasn't great. What stands out to you, man?
I mean, it was rough to me, especially because I'm a big fan of the Dawkins boys. I've said it many a time on this show. I'm a big fan of the Dawkins brothers. I hope the other two start fighting as well. But what stood out to me most about Dustin Stoltzfus, very well-rounded, very good ground game, very good stand-up, like you said, lucha libre. This dude can do it all, but if he's able to connect with that right hand, he has a very, very heavy right hand and very underrated power. You see him, well, especially in his last fight, he just wasn't able to get off. He wasn't able to get off his back foot. He was staying back against the fence the whole time, and Kyle Dawkins was just putting it to him. So if he's able to avoid that, stay a little bit more mobile, stay a little bit more of that karate where we're in and out, back and forth, and actually go around and not get caught up in the mix 'em up, I think he's going to have a little bit more give in this fight. You know, he has, like I said, my biggest thing I noticed for him, if he tags you with that right hand clean, he's going to drop some power. It's going to be very impressive. But the whole crux of all that is if he's able to do it, if he's able to, circle out, get off his back foot and actually put some offense to it. Because in his last fight, that was a rough one for him, man. He was just, the gap was too big and he wasn't able to do anything against our boy Kyle Dawkins. So I'm interested to see exactly that, how diverse this dude is, because his background is very diverse. On paper, Dustin Stoltzfus could be a champ. Now, can he put that into action? We need to see, because he is a dog. Don't get me wrong, this dude, he, like I said, he was having a little rough outing against Dawkins, but he's a dog. He has some serious fight in him. So I'm interested to see how diverse his talent actually is now that he's going up against somebody who basically is there for two reasons: takedowns and submissions. That's about it. So it's going to be interesting. What do you think? What was your takeaway?
I mean, the big thing for me is that he hasn't been able to really showcase his grappling acumen, because Stoltzfus is no slouch on the ground, man. This dude has a twister victory obviously not in the UFC, but he has a twister victory on his record. This dude, so the thing about Luta Libre is that they were training leg locks prior to the whole BJJ, scene. Like, they did it first and then it transitioned over into BJJ. So that's one thing that I can see him attempt to use to try to maybe escape some type of bottom position or being in a bad spot against Vieira, is just try to do that. But it's like, my thing is like, okay, the thing that you're probably best in is the dude who is the absolute best in. Like, that's your best here, but he's like the best. So it's like, we're going to talk about a couple other matchups where it's a similar story, where one fighter's strength is the other fighter's strength. So it's like, where do you go? How do you transition? I think Vieira just has too much experience, man. I think it's going to play into a heavy factor here. Now, let me just talk about it because I didn't mention it. Vieira is a minus 230 favorite, which was slightly surprising to me after, literally just fatigue tapping in his last fight, you know what I mean? Because I do agree, I don't think that he truly got submitted like that. He was just like, bro, I'm so tired, I just don't even want to fight anymore. So looking for a way out. However, that's quitter mindset, and you always have an option, right? You could tap or you can go to sleep. Always got an option. Now, Dustin Stoltzfus is a plus 190 underdog, and with that being said, AJ, let's give our picks. Who do you got in this one?
This one goes back to like you said, the strength versus the absolute top dog strength in this one. I got Vieira by submission, man. I think if it goes to the ground, it's just going to be over and done for him. And unless Dustin Stoltzfus can actually provide some different looks like we want to see him do, I don't think it's going to end up well for him. So I'm going Vieira submission round one, and I'll even say it, man. I'm going with the old arm triangle choke, Vieira's go-to favorite. Who you got and why?
It's a good one, man. But listen, I agree with you. I'm going for Rodolfo Vieira, and the reason why is I just think the cage is going to be too small. I don't think Stoltzfus is going to have enough room to try to evade. I do think his best chance of winning is on the feet. So if he could sit there and land that big right hook on him and get him wobbled, because I believe it was Anthony Hernandez. Or actually, it was a fight before. Let me see. It was Safarov. So when Vieira fought Safarov, he got rocked like the first strike of the fight, or first one or two strikes in. So there's a chance if he can get it done on the floor, or on the feet, But like you said, Vieira does have a granite chin, man. He'll just circle out and try to get the fight to the ground. I'm going Vieira. I'm going submission. I'm gonna go round one, man. I think he's gonna get in there and just get him out of there really quickly. However, I'm gonna go rear naked choke. I think he's gonna take the back, because Stoltzfus, when you're an advanced grappler, okay, I have to give my back in this position to be able to evade some other type of submission. As soon as he gets on the back, I think it's game over, man. So with that being said, Rodolfo Vieira looking for a big comeback after his first career loss, which is also interesting.